sport can play a really big role in our lives. It has that ability to capture our attention. So it's not surprising that sport has also captured the phrases and sayings in our day-to-day language. In today's video, we'll look at the top 10 phrases and sayings that are associated with sport. Number 10. Now, we've all compared ourselves to someone and thought, well, they are much, much better than me, or maybe a little bit inferior to you. So you might also use the term to be in the same league. It's all about comparability. Now, this, as no surprise, comes from organised sports leagues, where teams are grouped by skill level to ensure a fair and level competition. Being in the same league literally meant that you were evenly matched in ability and ranking. So today we might use the term in the same league to describe anything about comparability. It doesn't even have to be something sporting. Could even be that cafe or restaurant. We might compare it to be in the same league, perhaps as our local establishment. Number 9. Now, when someone asks for exact numbers and you get a ballpark figure in return, they're basically saying that close enough is good enough. It's that friendly way to say that you have been given an estimate. Ballpark figure comes from baseball parks in the US, where estimating crowd sizes was more often than not approximate rather than precise. The ballpark became shorthand for a rough estimate or something within a reasonable range. Today we'll use the term ballpark figure to indicate that we're rounding things off, providing an estimate, whether it be a project cost, a time frame, or anything that can be safely rounded up or down. Number 8. Now, we all want to look like we are on the ball, particularly if deep down we have a combination of mild panic and a little bit of caffeine. That's right, on the ball is our go-to saying to show that we externally seem like we have it all together. On the ball comes from ball sports, surprisingly enough, from ball sports like football and rugby, where physically being on the ball meant being alert, in control and actively involved in play. And of course, awareness and timing were those key ingredients in such sports. Today, we'll simply describe someone as being on the ball by being sharp and attentive, just like that colleague that we see that seems to have all the right answers at the right time and meets those deadlines with minimum effort. Number 7. Now, we've all had those moments. It's one activity too many, too much, too soon, and we are ready to absolutely give up. Or in other words, we are ready to throw in the towel. Now, to throw in the towel comes from boxing. A trainer in the corner may throw in the towel to signal a surrender when their fighter can't continue safely. So, throwing in the towel was that literal act of stopping the fight and not continuing any further. In today's modern world, we'll often use throw in the towel after we've attempted something, tried and tried again, and then we have absolutely given up and we don't wish to carry on any further. Number 6. I'm sure we've all been in situations where we have done our bit and it is time for someone else to carry on the responsibility. In other words, in such circumstances, we could say that the ball is in their court. Now, a phrase with the word ball and court, not surprisingly, would come from the sport of tennis, where play depends on returning the ball once it lands in your court. It is your responsibility to respond and keep the game going. In the modern context, we would use the term the ball is in your court to indicate it is someone else's turn to decide. Just like sending that proposal by email, it almost gives you permission to sit back and relax and let someone else carry on the job. Number 5. Everyone wants to call the shots until they realise that it also means that they may also have to take the blame. That's right, calling the shots. It's the go-to phrase to indicate that someone is in control. Now we might wonder, well, where did this come from? Well, calling the shots likely came from shooting sports or billiards. In the case of billiards, there are some games such as 8-ball or straight pool where a player is required to declare their intended shot beforehand. This phrase developed into leadership roles and made that connection with people who make decisions. In today's modern world, we'll say that someone calls the shots to mean that they are in charge and they are going to be the one that makes all of the crucial decisions. Number 4. Now, we all like conditions to be fair and equal. In other words, we could insist that we have a level playing field. Level playing field comes from sports that are designed to be flat and fair to ensure that no team has any sort of physical advantage. Uneven ground could unfairly affect performance and seriously alter the outcome of the game. So, the term level playing field is commonly used down to our day and could also be applied to fields beyond sports, whether it be the workplace, the schoolyard, or even the legal sector. Number 3. There is nothing more frustrating when you're in the lead. You're winning the game and then someone gets in there and changes the rules. We could say that they are just as good as moving the goalposts. Now, the term move the goalpost comes from sports such as football and rugby, where moving the goalposts would make scoring unfair and even at times impossible. It undermines the integrity of the game. In today's world, we'll use the term move the goalposts to mean that someone has changed their mind or changed criteria rather unfairly, just like moving targets or moving different project phases around to make it look like that you haven't reached your target. Number 2. Sadly, I'm sure we've all done this. We have dropped the ball right when everyone is watching. Very, very embarrassing. In fact, there are numerous sports where dropping the ball can be detrimental to the game. Baseball, cricket. And in sports like American football or rugby, dropping the ball means losing possession and potentially the game. In other words, it is a clear and visible mistake. Now, dropping the ball can apply to many different fields, such as dropping the ball on that deadline, and then worst of all, having to go and explain to your colleagues or even your boss what you have done. And finally, number 1. And in these sort of situations, you realise you have absolutely nailed it. You've done an exceptional job, and you may have even surprised yourself. In other words, you have hit the ball out of the park, or simply hit it out of the park. This term comes from baseball, where hitting the ball out of the park scores a home run, one of the best possible plays, and is indicative of peak performance and success. To hit the ball out of the park in any field of life, whether it be at home, at work, or at school, means you have done something exceptionally well, just like that perfectly presented presentation that receives a standing ovation. So there we have it. If you drop the ball, throw it in someone else's court, and hit it out of the park, at least you'll know what it actually means and where it comes from. Did we make your top 10 sport phrases and sayings? Did we get it right? Please leave a message and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.